Who should be in the new Sphere movie? Hi, I'm Dillon.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome to our first game of Recast, where we are going to choose the actors to cast in each character of a hypothetical movie remake. Today we're talking about Sphere. Michael Crichton published the sci-fi novel Sphere in 1987. It was already made into a movie in 1998. We did an episode of our show, Adaptation Station, talking about that. That movie bombed on its initial release, and it still has bad critic and audience scores, even though we think it's a little bit underrated.
Yeah, and it's got a star-studded cast.
It really does. It definitely could have been better, and it's never too late. So we are still hoping that Hollywood will make a remake of the Sphere movie. It's been a while. So let's go through the four main characters of the book, and we will remind you who played them in the 1998 movie version. Then we'll give you our individual picks for who should be recasted to reprise those roles. Before we get started, let us know as we go along who you would recast in all of these roles. Maybe Hollywood will stumble upon this video and your comments, and your idea will be better than ours. Still hoping they make this video.
Yeah, if you know any Hollywood execs, tweet at them and let them know that they need to, climb on the back of the success of the resurgence of Jurassic Park, another Crichton creation, and start up some other Crichton stuff. So Sphere could be the next one.
That's true. We have the power to create the demand. So get your tweets out there. It's been about 25 years since the original Sphere.
Crazy.
So it deserves a reboot after that much time. And the original actors will be a little old. That's why we're going to choose some new people. All right. So we're going to at least recast the four main characters. And then if we have any other bonus picks, we could talk about that. But first, we need to talk about Norman Johnson. Norman Johnson was the psychologist, kind of the main character. He wrote the unknown life form research paper, but he didn't really believe in it. In the original movie, he is played by Dustin Hoffman. Who did you have to play the new Norman Johnson?
I picked, and the way that I picked mine, it was kind of just like, who is someone who is similar to what I pictured in my head while I was reading the book, and who do I think, based on things they've acted in before, could pull off the same kind of attitude. So for Norman Johnson, I chose Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, wow.
Yeah.
Seems like a serious choice. Like I don't know, he's a very serious dramatic actor, I feel like.
Yeah, but I mean, he's this is a somewhat serious role. He's a psychologist. Gary Oldman was what's his name in Batman, the detective,
he's
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner.
Yeah. So
that's true. Norman's a very serious
I think
character.
He brings the seriousness there, and he could bring the gravity to the situation, because he has to kind of pull everybody together with what's going on.
Yeah, he's like the one trying to keep it together because he's the social scientist, the small group dynamics. I like that.
Yeah, and I needed to pick someone who was a little older, too old to go down in the...
he needs to be older.
He needs to be a little bit older, but not too old. I think Gary Oldman is a little bit older than Dustin Hoffman was at the time.
Dustin Hoffman was like 60?
Yeah, Gary Oldman's like 64, I think.
Oh, that's perfect.
But pretty close.
Yeah, I had a hard time picking Norman. I went through a few people in my mind, but I was also looking for someone around 60 years old. And the reason why I guess I was surprised by yours being so serious is that I landed on Steve Carell to play Norman Johnson. I like Steve Carell in some serious roles. Like he was recently in a show called The Patient, where he's a therapist and he gets kidnapped by his patient. Very serious Steve Carell role. I like him in Little Miss Sunshine, where he's kind of a serious, tragic character. He's of that age. And I also do think there's a little bit of dry comedy to Norman Johnson in the book, where because he wrote the alien research paper, but he didn't believe in it. He just wanted the grant money. I thought that was a funny situation that draws him into the story. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Steve Carell would be perfect for a new Norman Johnson. All right, you want to move on to Harold Harry Adams. This is the young mathematician, the prodigy, portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson.
That's an important point there too. Young Samuel L. Jackson, he may have looked fairly young in this movie, but he was 50.
He was 50.
He was 50 years old, portraying who in the book is supposed to be 30-year-old.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking of the book, young prodigy in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks young enough in the movie. I can go first this time and say that for Harry, I chose Mahershala Ali.
Ah, yeah.
The first thing I saw him in was he was the bad guy in was it Daredevil or Luke Cage, where he's the
he's in Luke Cage. Yeah,
Luke Cage as the villain. But then I recently saw the movie Green Book. Have you seen Green Book?
No, I have not. Yeah, he's with Viggo Mortensen.
With Viggo Mortensen,
right?
Yeah, he plays Dr. Shirley, where he's like a very fancy. He has a PhD in something, but he's this virtuoso piano player, classical. So he's like, kind of like Harry would be, a little uptight, pretentious, like full of himself a little bit. So after seeing him in that, I thought, he would be a great Harry Adams for the remake. Those are the only things I've seen him in, I think.
I've seen him in House of Cards. That's the first thing I think I saw him in.
That's a show, right?
Yeah. And he was also in True Detective Season 3.
I still need to watch that.
Yeah.
Who did you pick for Harry Adams?
So I picked, and this is the person that I pictured in the book this second time reading it, because he reminded me of him so much from one specific role. I picked William Jackson Harper, who is in Midsummer. That's the role that made me think of him for this, where he kind of plays amidst everybody else who in Midsummer goes to this festival and is all about like having fun. He's much more serious about working on his research paper, and even before they go, he's always just more worried about that, than anything else, people's feelings and things like that. So
Perfect
I think that worked there. He also, I believe, is in The Good Place. Right?
Yeah, he's a similar character in The Good Place because he's an ethics professor, always worried about morality, if he's doing the right thing. A little bit different than being like a mathematician, but yeah, that's a good pick. I could see that. Next up, we have Beth Halpern. She is the zoologist that goes down there with them, originally portrayed by Sharon Stone in the 1998 movie. Who did you pick for Beth Halpern?
For Beth, I chose Mackenzie Davis.
Mackenzie Davis. Oh, yeah. I have seen her in things.
So I kind of picked her because I think the first thing that I recall seeing her in was a show called Halt and Catch Fire, where she plays a computer programmer. So that's where you got scientists. She can play scientists. She's also in one of the Terminator movies. She's got action down,
Nice.
So that was a lot of my choice there, and close to kind of what I pictured,
Yeah, now that I see her, she was in a movie with my Norman Johnson, Steve Carell. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's something like Irresistible, Irreplaceable, something like that. Hopefully, Irresistible with Steve Carell. Yeah, she was in that. So they've already acted together. They've got connections. Maybe my Norman Johnson can be with your Beth. Yeah, that's a good pick. For me, for Beth, I chose the person that I pictured when I was reading the novel, and that's pretty much the only reason. And when it gave the description of Beth, I pictured Jessica Chastain from the beginning.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so I was picturing Jessica Chastain the whole time, and I think she could do it. That's my pick. And lastly, the last of the main four characters is Ted Fielding, the astrophysicist, kind of know-it-all guy. And he was played by Liev Schreiber, or Liev Schreiber. Sabretooth from the original X-Men movies.
Well, he's Sabretooth from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, they did have a different long-haired Sabretooth guy. Okay, so for Ted Fielding, I chose Glenn Howerton.
Okay.
Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He plays Dennis. He was also in one of the movies we watched for our show, Everything Must Go. He was Will Ferrell's boss.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, and he's good at playing kind of a know-it-all character that goes on rants, and he's like becomes very serious about what is correct. And I could just easily picture him being Ted Fielding, being too serious, talking too much when every other character is like, yeah, we get it, Ted, calm down. So yeah, I think we talked about this before when we were talking about our ideas for who we might recast. I think I threw Glenn Howerton out there, and I just stuck with it, even though I think you were thinking, I don't know, people mostly know him from It's Always Sunny. So then at that point, it's like you might as well cast Charlie Day as Norman and Danny DeVito as the Squid or something. But yeah, I'm sticking with Glenn Howerton. Who did you choose for Ted?
For Ted, I chose Mark Ruffalo.
I was thinking Mark Ruffalo for Norman.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I could see that too. I could just also really see Mark Ruffalo as being very absorbed and talking too much in that way, more than Norman. Norman's kind of tends to stay a little more out of things and quiet in the book and everything. But Mark Ruffalo is going to be going on and on about, you know, everything, and he may not be the person who is like really arrogant about it, but he just like is in his own mind and can't stop talking about stuff.
Interesting.
That was kind of my take on that, and almost kind of the in a way when he gets going, the character that he plays as the Hulk, as Bruce Banner, he's kind of, you know, he's a scientist and he knows a lot, and he can get going explaining something and forget.
That's a good pick. I like that pick because I was, you know, I thought of him for Norman, but obviously I didn't land on him, so he wasn't right for that role. It's like he auditioned for Norman, and we were like, you know what, we like you.
We're thinking you, but for Ted.
Yeah, maybe there's a spot for Ted for you. He was also a scientist in Eternal Sunshine. Yeah,
that was in my mind too.
That's a good pick. I like that. Okay, and so those were the four main characters and who we chose. Did you think of any of the other like marginal characters you'd want to recast?
No, not really.
The one that I didn't have any specific ones in mind, but I was remembering in the movie how the helicopter pilot.
I was wondering if that was what you were going to say right now. Yeah.
Yeah, the helicopter pilot was Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to think who would be like a modern day equivalent of Huey Lewis.
Yeah.
The only person I could think of was maybe Dave Grohl would do it. Dave Grohl's been around for a long time.
He could be a
Nirvana,
helicopter
Foo
pilot,
Fighters. He seems like he would do it, you know, just cameo as the helicopter pilot.
Yeah.
So that's it. I don't have any replacement for, you know, Teenie Fletcher, which was Queen Latifah. Okay, so those are our picks to recast, to reprise the role for the new Sphere movie that hopefully Hollywood makes soon, because we know it's a great book by Michael Crichton. Still my favorite book that we've read so far on Adaptation Station. And if you've already read it, you're looking for other great books, we have a few that we have published ourselves. So go down to the description. We'll leave links where you can go order those and follow us so you can stay tuned for more updates. And as for Sphere, write your recast picks in the comments below. Maybe Hollywood will like your ideas better. Who knows? Subscribe to our channel, hit the bell, tell your friends to tune in too. You can click another video now. Thank you. Bye.